ready for some fun, fitness, and then some? I'm Carol and welcome to Over 50, So What? Now, technology seems to be going faster and faster, and it seems to be getting more difficult to keep up. And I think as you get older, it becomes harder because most of us haven't grown up with computers or the internet. Today, we chat to Jenny from the Australian Seniors Computer Association, which is a fantastic resource to help us all move into the future. Please join us in the 5-minute fitness routine just as you are, or hold a chair for support if you need to. And lastly, we chat to Mike from the JB Square Wheelers about the other side to square dancing, which is the calling. Around and around and around we go. If you get involved in the square dancing world, you might even find yourself doing it in Japan. Okay, let's go. Welcome to Living Life. Now, we're going to talk today about something that is becoming more important than ever to help us to live a regular life, and that is computers and technology. We use technology to communicate, to pay bills, to shop, and to be entertained. Most of you watching, like myself, never had a computer or the internet when we were growing up. I learnt how to type on a manual typewriter. Well, today we're going to talk to Jenny from the Australian Seniors Computer Association, and they've got some fantastic resources to help us all mature people to keep up to date in this digital age. Hi Jenny, welcome to Over 50, So What?
Thank you, Carol. Finally, yes, we've got here. It's very nice to be with you. Thank you.
As we've discussed before, the world is rapidly changing. Digital technology is changing. We're getting new apps, new this, new that. How do we keep up with it? I mean, you work with the Australian Seniors Computer Association. How can you help us with keeping up with all this technology?
To be perfectly honest, I think in a way it's a bit difficult and it can be very daunting. And I think the trick to embrace it is to realise that no one knows everything and you'll never learn it all. So just select what you're interested in and learn that. And that then builds confidence to go on and learn something else perhaps.
And how can Asca help us more mature ones out there to, update our computer technology skills?
Asca is the national peak body representing computer clubs throughout Australia. And as such, we are the conduit, or we'd like to think we are, one of the main conduits between government, corporate, and affiliated member clubs. We glean information from the government and the corporates, Google, Microsoft, Apple, everybody, and we funnel it through to the clubs, and then they in turn dissect it and put it out to the members.
And how did you get involved with this? It wasn't that long ago.
Here in Walpole in WA, I managed the Community Resource Centre for 20 years. And in 2007, I was selected to represent the network to attend the Microsoft conference in Sydney. And as luck would have it, they allocated me to share a room with Nan Bosler, who was the founding president of Asca. And I'd already run a junior computer kids club, but I hadn't run a senior one. And I said, well, would we qualify to turn our, into Walpole? We have a senior one. Oh, yes, she said. Well, as they say, the rest is history. We became the first Asca club in WA, I believe.
So how many computer clubs have you got in WA now?
COVID has had a drastic impact on clubs Australia-wide, in that 2 years ago we had 150 clubs and now we've got just over 50. Mainly clubs provide face-to-face lessons. So that's where their sort of sense of purpose was eroded and virtually diminished. And it's only now that clubs are starting to have another look when the restrictions are being somewhat relaxed and lifted, that clubs are rejuvenating, and we're seeing a resurgence. Asca turned digital. So we're totally virtual digital. And that broadened our scope, because it doesn't matter where anyone lives, we can still connect with them, or they can, connect to some of the lessons, and we can still do mentoring and things like this. But you can't sort of beat the face-to-face. And I think this is where older people particularly like that social aspect. They don't necessarily want to go to classes. They've been to school. They don't want to necessarily go back and have to do assignments and whatever. Half of it's social. So this is where I think the 50 or more clubs are going to increase dramatically in the next few months right throughout Australia, and everyone's going to sort of have a bit of a hybrid, a bit of face-to-face and a bit of online.
Now, with all your work with Asca and with Microsoft conferences, etc., do you have any statistics on the over 50, over 60 market, like how competent they are generally?
They're reasonably literate to a certain degree, but there's a fear. And really, I guess in a way, it's, you see on TV all the talk about scams and hackers, and they know someone who knows someone who knows someone who had their bank account skimmed, and there's all this fear. And I think that has restricted a lot of people from embracing it. But those who do embrace it, and a lot of seniors have actually been in business or had experience in computers or office machines or whatever, and so they're already halfway there, and they just sort of, it's a bit of an evolution, and they just carry it on and learn more and more. But there's never really a better time to embrace technology as there is now. There's so much out there, and I think, if you can actually sell a concept to someone, which is why I think in a way Walpole Seniors Computer Clubs was so popular. For over 10 years, it was the same group, and they had such far-reaching social connections through the basic skills they learned. Because I always say there's not much point in learning Word or Excel or whatever if you're not going to do something for yourself with it afterwards. We had a lady here, and her family went to live in America, and her grand taught her how to crochet over Skype. That just gives a practical demonstration. Had the grandma not come to computer classes, she would never have known about Skype, and she would never have been confident enough to connect to Las Vegas and teach her granddaughter. People think, oh, well, if she can do it, I can too. And they can. We weren't all born with computer skills. We all had to learn them. And as I said earlier, I think if you pull out what you really need to know and learn that.
Well, that's a lovely story. And who says you can't teach an old dog new tricks, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
So you can just pick a module about a particular topic that you're interested in, that you think you need some more knowledge?
Absolutely, that's right. It's at the, if people wanted to have a look, they just need to go to a website browser, and it is beconnected.esafety.gov.au. And the topic library is there, and you can choose the absolute basics or the more advanced. But what they're always adding new stuff to it, new topics, which is really good, keeping it relevant. And what they've done in recent times is to have lessons on how to set up MyGov and be registered for the COVID app and all these other things. Everybody who's got some sort of a government Centrelink card, it's always best to have a MyGov account, and it gets linked with Medicare and all the other services that are under that umbrella. And this teaches them how to do that. Internet rules the world. And so if you're not on it, you're behind the 8 ball, really.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show today. I mean, it's so fantastic to hear there's actually this resource out there, and it's a free resource, because things change, snap your fingers and it's changed again.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much, Jenny. Thanks for watching our TV show. Be sure to hit subscribe and then you'll never miss an episode. Jump on Facebook, join our group, get in on the fun, fitness, wellness and inspiration. I'm Carol, over 50. So what?